And so here's the thing. I want to talk about today is really about, the whole idea of how do you become a thought leader brand? How do you become an authority brand? In other words, how do you become a brand based upon your knowledge, your wisdom, your expertise, the stuff that you know? And when we're talking about this, I'm not just talking about this concept of being an online course creator or an online entrepreneur. I'm actually talking about true thought leadership. I'm talking about taking your knowledge, packaging it in a way that is deep knowledge and deep information that makes a difference in people's lives. It's the things that movements can be made of. It's the things that missions can be made of. It's the things that will permeate and transcend time. There's a reason that Think and Grow Rich as a book still is something that's read today. And that's really where we start to play this game, is say, how do we take your message, your legacy, if you will, and put it out in the world in a big way so it starts to fly, and it is you coming in there. Oh, I'm looking at the hearts. I love it. Yeah, keep them coming. So the idea here is this, is that I believe thought leadership leads to market leadership. Market leadership leads to impact, and it's based upon your ability to influence and serve. Everything we're going to talk about today, tomorrow, and the next day on these trainings is really coming from a place of service. It's about how do we make a difference in people's lives. Here's how I look at it. My mission is to create an army of difference makers. The desire for me is to put a group of people together that have knowledge, wisdom, expertise. They've got an experience. They've been on a journey. They've gone through the trials and tribulations. They've learned lessons that can serve people, that can make a difference in people's lives. And that I want them to take out in the world. I want to take out in the world. I want to educate. I want to train. I want you to get your message out in the world for two reasons. Actually, for more than two reasons. One is that it's the right thing to do. My dad would say it's the right thing to do because it makes a difference in people's lives. There are people out there that are on the same path as you, but you're ahead of them, and you have the ability to take away pain, frustration, aggravation, struggle, because you can guide them through the minefields that you've already walked or that you've already learned. And in that process, you get a chance to live your calling. In that process, you get a chance to leave an indelible dent, as Steve Jobs would put it, in the universe, in your community, in your society, on someone's life. And that's what I think that we're here to do. And that's really where I want to play. I want us to start to build in this way. And so as you come in, that's how I want us to look at this. I don't want us to think about, oh, I'm going to put up a website alone. We're going to put up a website and we'll talk about that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, this isn't about putting up some website and an opt-in and then selling some PDF. This is about having a deep impact on people's lives, that you get a chance to live into what you were put here to do. The things that I do are for me, they're what drive me. Doing this kind of stuff, serving people, helping people get their dreams out in the world, that's what drives me. That's where I have the most joy in doing it. And that's what I think we all ought to be doing. If there's this yearning and this aching, I mean, how many of you actually have this yearning to do something greater, to be something bigger, to have a greater impact? If you're having that yearning, do me a favor, just type in yes in the comment section, because I think we all have that. But many of us will suppress it. Many of us will suppress it because we're afraid of being trolled. We're afraid of the internet and the criticisms of our family, of the friends, of all of that. And we'll talk about that as we move forward, because then we're not living our calling. So the idea here is this. I want to allow you and give you the tools that you get a chance to take out in the world. Your message, the difference you want to make, to do the things that you want to do in a way that you've wanted to do them. So here's where we're going to go in this series. Now, this is a 3-day training. It's the first time I've done it this way. It's 3 days of me and you live, having some time to work together and make a difference, to give you the tools. And I'm going to give you some homework. You've got the action guide that you can download. There's going to be some homework in there to do and make that happen. But what I want to do is imagine for a moment that you get a chance to create a business that gives you your life. In other words, what we tend to do is say, here's my career, and let me design my life around my career. And what I want to do is give you a vehicle that allows you to create a business around the life that you want, and for you to be in a place where you're no longer chasing your clients, but rather they come chasing you. They're looking for you, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And in a sense, what you do is you become a micro celebrity. You become a micro celebrity. What does that mean? It means that when someone gets a chance to see you in your market, they know who you are. But out in the public eye, you don't have the paparazzi. You don't have the people chasing you down. You don't have all of that stuff. But in the industry, in the marketplace, you are this micro celebrity. You are the go-to person, the expert in the space. So we're going to talk about, how do you create like a thought leader? Okay, how do you create like a thought leader? And this is a bit of what we're going to be talking about today. Then in our second training, we'll talk about how do you articulate your value distinctly. And if we're not good at if we're not good at articulating what we do, who we do it for, how we do it, how we're distinct, what our uniqueness is, and our positioning, then people won't come to us. So I'm gonna give you actually a tool that's going to allow you to articulate that simply to make that happen. Then third, we're going to talk about this whole idea of delivering like a difference maker. How do you go out? How do you deliver like a difference maker? How do you expand your reach? How do you create that distinction? How do you have the prescription, the strategy to make money with what you know? So that's where we're going to go over these next 3 days, these next 3 trainings, as we move forward to make that happen. Now, here's what I want to make clear. This is going to be very different than what many of you might be used to. I see someone, Kit, just there's a link in the comments that will give you access to the action guide. In fact, there it is for you. So you've got it. That'll give you access to the action guide. And so here's the thing. I want to talk about some things that maybe aren't being talked about. What we're going to really do is I'm going to talk about the things that are real. And I get it. You know, the idea here is this. I'm not going to talk about some marketing hack or something like that. I want you to understand, I built my original thought leader business, my expert business, before it was even called that, back in the 1990s, okay? So like, I'm aging myself here, but it was a long time ago, and we didn't have the internet, we didn't have the tools, we didn't have opt-ins, we didn't have any of that. How do you build a business, a following, in a way that people will chase you down? So we're gonna talk about some of the real things that it takes. We'll talk about what it truly takes, the things that need to be done to make that happen. And I'm gonna give you the path to get you there, okay? But here's the thing that I think is really important for you to realize, and that's this. And this is going to be a little bit of tough love, just so we understand this, is that I want us on the same page. The next 3 days are going to be very different. Like I said, we're going to go really deep on certain things, and probably deeper. I'm going to ask you to go deeper in your own thinking, in the way you're approaching the things that you're doing, than you probably have thought of in the past, and in terms of your content, in terms of your business, in terms of what you're actually doing, in terms of how you're actually providing it, in terms of what your clients actually want and want to buy from you. And so you might even say that it's going to be uncomfortably deep, because I'm going to ask you to do some soul searching. I'm going to ask you to create some content that has depth and levels to it. But here's what I believe. I truly believe that there is no golden tactic. There isn't some magic bullet that you're going to go and get and say, oh, if I get this tool, if I get this technology, then everything's going to be fine and everyone's going to race to my door and I'm going to make the money that I want to make. It's just not going to happen. So now we will talk about tactics, but before we do that, we're going to do some groundwork. Because if there was this, magic bullet, this golden tactic that was going to release everything, then and that it would be really that easy, we really wouldn't be sitting here today. You and I wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't be having this dialogue because everyone would buy the tactic and they'd go out and do it. It's not about messenger bots. It's not about Facebook. It's not about Instagram and Pinterest. It's not about any of that. Those are tactics. Those are tactical maneuvers that we can use, and we will use them. But here's the cool thing about that. When you start to understand that it's not the messenger bots, and it's not Facebook, and it's not videos, and it's not any of that. It's how you use them, that you actually don't have to have the latest and greatest to make this work. That there's a million different ways to take your knowledge, your wisdom, and expertise out in the world, that you get a chance to cut the pie the way you want to cut the pie to make that difference. But there's only one way to do it right, in my opinion, that's sustainable, that's in the long game, and that is to dial in your content. To take that content, dial it in a way that's unique and distinct, and then get it in front of people that want your stuff. You have to have something that they want first. And that's something that they want first. And then at some point, you're going to ask them for money. I mean, that's the formula. Dial in your content, put it in front of the right people, and then make an offer. That's it. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. But the key is the content piece first, that we get that all dialed in first. It's a simple formula, but people want to jump straight to the tactics instead of actually trying to figure out what your market wants. We're going to talk about that today, about what your market needs, what the people need, and how to get them the results that they're truly, truly looking for. So what I would look at is this, is let's focus on the impact that you want to have. Because when we focus on the impact you want to have, your income is directly related to the level of impact you have. The ability to solve the complex problems in your audience's lives will translate to income. If we focus on the income, we're focused internally. We're not focused on our marketplace. We're not focused on serving. We're not focused on our audience. Let's focus on our audience. Let's give you that. Now, I'll give you, like I said, I'll give you tactics in the end, what to do. But let's nail this down first. So here's my question when you look at this is, if you understand that, if this makes sense to you, just give me a 1 in the chat box or in the comments. That would be great. Because then the only question, if this makes sense to you, is this: how committed are you? How committed are you to your message? How committed are you to your calling? And how committed are you to the audience you want to serve? Because if the answer to that question is yes, then the next question is, what are you willing to do? Because in the end, every single one of you is what I call a thought leader. Someone that wants to set pace, someone that wants to lead. And yes, there's 2 words in that, thought and leader. But the most important one is leader. Okay, so I wanted to baseline us. I wanted to baseline us in a way that you understood where I was coming from. I'm not saying that this is going to be easy, but it is going to be simple when you get it done right. So that's how we're going to go. The other thing to realize is that I want you in the end to stand out. I want you in the end to have a loyal audience, a loyal following. And I want you, in the end, to have what I call income freedom. The idea of the ability to create income on demand or in the way that you choose to make it. It's what I call a portfolio entrepreneur, someone that has the opportunity to make income a variety of different ways to make that happen, okay? So there's a couple things to realize, because if I don't get this right, here's what's going to happen. If I don't get this right, people love this image. Then there is no attention. So you don't get known. People don't know you, and there is no distinction. So you don't stand out. You're lost in a noisy market, and you have no positioning. And we'll talk about why positioning is more important than marketing. Here's the bottom line, okay? The truth of the whole matter is this. You're peddling tomatoes. And I know you're going, what the hell is he talking about, peddling tomatoes? Here's what it is. Your content is a commodity. Your clients actually do not want your courses. They do not want your speeches. They do not want your trainings. They do not want your coaching. They don't even want your books. It's a commodity. So if that's what is happening, then my question for you is, what do they want? What do they want? The reality is that what they want is the results that those will give them. So we need to stop looking at this idea of, I got to create content, I got to create courses, I got to create trainings. What we need to create is results in our clients' lives. That's what we're selling. Absolutely, Jeff. It's the outcome. It's the outcome that they're buying. That's that whole adage of when you go to when the guy that went to the store for the drill, it wasn't the drill they bought. They didn't want the drill. They wanted the hole the drill was going to create. So what we need to do is be aware of the hole and not the drill. The mechanism to get you there, the courses, the content, the trainings, the speeches, the keynotes, all that stuff is stuff. It's a commodity. Let's talk about the transformation. So this is our journey. This is where we're going to go. For those of you, there's a number of people on here that don't know me. Let me just jump in real quick. Is that it's time to change this whole commodity thing, and let's give you an idea of how to do that. All right. So before that, let's just talk a little bit about me. And this is the only time we're really going to talk about me, but let me just give you an idea of where I came from and why I'm doing this and where that came from. So here's what happened. Like I said, I'm a CPA by education. I've been a CPA for many, many decades. I'm well preserved. So, and at one point in time, my partners came to me and literally said, we don't want to be partners anymore. So I literally got pushed out the door. Now at the time, we're talking in the 90s, I was building a practice. I was building my consulting practice. I was still in that beginning stages. I was trying to get clients. I was trying to get those folks to buy my services, to do that. Now, a CPA world is a noisy market. It is a commodity based because we swap hours for dollars. It's the worst business model ever, but they pushed me out the door. And I literally had no clients. I had no work backlog. I had no cash flow. I had no idea what I was going to do, but here I was sitting there, and I was literally $300,000 plus in debt because I just bought a house. And so now I had to figure out, what was I going to do? Because at that point, do I go get a job somewhere, or do I continue on this path to build my own business, my own expert business, my own authority brand to do that? But I had something that was driving me, and that was this little boy. See, that was the same year that they pushed me out was the same year I became a single full-time dad of my son, Jeremy. And in that, as I realized that Jeremy was watching. Jeremy was going to see what his dad did, and I realized that children will follow what we do, not necessarily what we say in the process. And so I did what most entrepreneurs do. I dug my heels in. And really started to work. I put my head down, and I was meeting with clients. I was meeting with people. I was trying to get clients. And all of a sudden, I started to get clients. I started to get folks that were hiring me. And I started to get cash flow in. I said, this is going to work. And I was excited until one day at 6 years old, Jeremy comes running in and he says, Daddy, 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 I drew a picture of you at school today. And so I stopped everything because he was so excited. It was like a kid on his birthday morning. And he hands me this picture in blue felt tip pen. And here I am. I see a picture of me, a stick figure, with a phone in each ear, 2 computer screens, and the one on the desk ringing. And I realized that I was totally screwing it up. I this at the hands of the 6-year-old boy, he gave me the greatest business lesson I could learn. And that was this whole idea that he did not care. I could have used it as an excuse. He did not care about the profits. He did not care about the cash flow. He did not care about the clients. He did not care about any of that. What he cared about was his dad being present. And if you're a parent, if you have children, if you have a significant other, if you have a husband, a wife, it's someone that maybe you're spending time away from, I mean, you may relate to this. It may be something that's going on. And for me, it just was a dagger in the heart. And I had to wrestle with this idea of how do I fix this? And I would hear the people all saying, well, Mel, you need to get work-life balance. And I realized that this whole idea is that there is no balance. It's not about work-life balance. That's a myth. That's a fallacy that we're sold. It's about work-life harmony. It's about understanding how do we create something that creates a life for us and not the other way around, where we turn around and create something and fit our life in the cracks of what's left over. The greatest gift that I was given was to be a dad, to be a father, and to take care of that little boy. And I was failing at it miserably until I realized that I could redesign and figure out my life in a different way. So let's fast forward just a bit. Let's fast forward, a few years. He's a little older now, 29 years old. He's had his own business since 16, and we are two entrepreneurs with a mission and a plan. He's got his own company. He's working. He's probably on this call with us right now. He consults with me on my business. I consult with him on his business. He's doing work effectively all around the world. He's got clients all around the world, and we are the best of friends. A different picture that came about. But it was because I was able to look at things and say, how do I make intentional choices and decisions to build a business around the lifestyle I want? And that's what I want for you, to realize that you can do that. And then since that time, I've had the opportunity to be a #1 best-selling author of The Entrepreneur Solution. It was #1 on Barnes & Noble, USA Today bestseller. I've had numerous courses, podcasts on the top list. I've had the blessing to be on some of the top expert stages, podcasts, talking about thought leadership and building a business, building a life around your business to make that happen. And I've also shared the stage with some amazing people. Some of them you'll recognize here, interviewed by Larry King, Pat Flynn, my good friend Brendan Bouchard, my good friend James Wedmore, Amy Porterfield. We've had a chance to share some things and work with some of the top people in this field. Now, none of that matters. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. I think what matters are these next couple of images. And this is where I want us to realize is that we're coming from this from a different place. And that's this, is that these two pictures, I've got two of my good friends in the one on the bottom, James Wedmore, Brandon Lucero, and doing that. And then over to the left is me and my beautiful bride. And the opportunity to share life. Like I said, people have heard me say that I don't think we want wealth in life. What we want is richness. And richness comes from relationships, and richness comes from experiences, and richness comes from memories. And having the flexibility to share life. The picture in the bottom is we took off for a week, a spur of the moment week, to a small little island about the size of a football field in Fiji. And we sat there on a private island in Fiji, having a chance to surf. Well, they surfed. I tried to surf. I spent more time paddling than surfing. Actually, my board was about the size of a garage door, so I could float a lot. And then the other picture with my wife, we got invited to something called the Royal Ascot, which is the English version of the Kentucky Derby. So I had to wear the whole tux and the top hat. And they gave me 3 pages of rules, manners, and etiquette, which is like an international incident waiting to happen with me. And she got dressed up. But that is where I think we go. And this idea of building an entrepreneur, portfolio career really hits home when something like this happens. So this is my mom. She's 85, although she told us she was 83. We figured out she's 85. This is my mom and my wife on our wedding day. And June 1st last year, she fell ill. She went in the hospital and she almost didn't make it. She's with us still today. She's had kidney failure. She's on dialysis. But I was able to extract myself for the 21 days in the hospital. My wife and I could spend with her and help her and fight for her and fight for her care, fight for her needs, to do that and not have the business hiccup in the process, because it was built like this portfolio career that we will talk about. And it was built based upon our knowledge and be able to monetize in a lot of different ways. And so I look at it and go, this is what I want for you. This is how I want you to live, to be able to have that happen. And so to do that, the first thing to do is to create like a thought leader. Because when we create like a thought leader, what happens is that we have the opportunity to deliver it a lot of different ways. You will get paid a lot of different ways. I talked about this on the pre-training yesterday. In there, where we talk about this in a way where if you have a message and you create it properly, you can get paid to speak, you can get paid to write, you can get paid to do training, you can get paid to get interviewed. So what ends up happening is you create this portfolio of income streams that gives you the flexibility. So if God forbid you need to, like I did, you could spend 21 days taking care of the people that you love. And so that's what I want to have happen for you, is so we get a chance to create the right things for you in the process. Here's why this is important. When you create properly, you're positioned as the authority. And the key word in that is the, not a. Okay? It's not an authority. You all have knowledge, you all have wisdom, you all have expertise, you have experience that you can share with the world. But my question is, when that topic comes up, do they think of you? If they don't think of you, then you're not the person in the marketplace. And I want you to be the person in the marketplace. When you're that, then what happens is that you transcend commodity rates. You become a premium. You become desired. You become chased. And that starts with making sure that you talk to your market. Because here's the deal. If you don't do this right, your market isn't being heard. They effectively the market isn't being heard. They don't know you exist. They aren't hearing you. They're not seeing you. And this may be the problem that you're seeing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're struggling with this now. It's noisy out there. I mean, think about it. How many emails do you get? How many promotions do you get? You're trying to put your stuff out there. You're a coach. You're a speaker. You're doing this kind of stuff. You're a course creator. And sometimes it's just crickets. Maybe you're feeling that right now and making that happen. So your market's not being heard. The other thing is that you're busy, but you're not making progress. You're doing a lot of stuff because the gurus are telling you got to do this, you do that, but you're not making progress. Let's cut all the fat out and let's make some progress. Let's build it out in a way. The third thing that I think happens is that you start flushing a lot of money down the drain. Okay, people tell you to run Facebook ads. Trust me, I'm running Facebook ads. And you can spend a lot of money on graphics, on Facebook ads, on consultants, on courses, on all kinds of things. And you're putting a lot of money out there and nothing is coming back. In fact, what ends up happening is that you have no sales, no cash flow. It's almost like what happened when I got pushed out of my partner's business. And so, but when we dial this in and we walk through this framework, what's going to end up happening is that now all of a sudden the market's listening intently. Okay. See, market is going to know that you're there. They're listening to your every word. They're waiting for your next live. There's a reason we have so many people. I had to get an Elvis picture in my training, okay? So there's an Elvis picture in there. But you get a market that's actually listening to you, that wants to hear from you. And now all of a sudden you create a tribe of followers, loyal followers. Here's the thing. Most people think about marketing in a noisy market is about raising your voice and yelling louder and being the loudest in the market. That's not the case. And it's actually the opposite. Marketing in a noisy market is about finding the right ears, whispering the right words at the right time in the right way. Then they follow you. The other thing to realize is that now all of a sudden you start to get momentum. You're building acceleration in your business, that the business starts to grow as you go. And instead of putting money down the drain, you ultimately have money in the bank account. Okay, you actually start to get cash flow. You start to get premium rates. You start to get ROI. Absolutely. So then the big thing is this: when you have your content out there in the right way, people see you as the expert. You have what I call prolific positioning. In other words, you're seen all over the place. You're positioned as the authority. And positioning is the space you occupy in the mind and the heart of your customer. The difference between being an expert and being a thought leader is this: an expert knows stuff. They have knowledge, they have wisdom, and they have expertise. The thought leader, the difference maker, they're known for the stuff they know. They may know the same stuff the expert does, but they're known for the stuff they know. A small distinction, huge difference though. And I want you to be known for the stuff you know to make that happen. So here's what you need to know. Now I want you to write these things down. Take it on the notes page in the action guide. This is like your checklist. These are the things you need to know as we move forward. The first principle is this: is that markets get saturated. So we're going to we're going to talk about this market saturation and figure out where your market is, because that's how we need to speak to them differently. So markets are going to get saturated. They're going to get bombarded with messages and they don't hear you. The second thing is that you need to find your level. In other words, where is your market so you can speak the right language to? Most of the time, the reason that your message isn't landing is you're speaking in the wrong way to the marketplace. See, it's not about your courses, your trainings, your coaching. It's about your messaging being done right. So it's relevant, it lands, and it's powerful. That's where we're going with this. The other piece of this is that the third thing you need to know is that we need to play a step up. You'll understand this when I show you the framework that we're gonna build out, is that you need to play at where your market currently exists and the level above it. Okay? And then the last thing is this: is to remember that the identity of your marketplace is the ultimate. Okay? When you look at movements, when you look at missions, what happens is they give an identity to their marketplace, to the people they serve, to make a difference. And when you speak to their aspirational identity, their desired identity, when you speak at that level, it's going to be different. So here's the thing. I'm going to give you some examples of this. Let's talk about the process to understand this. It's what I call the 5 levels of saturation. Okay, so this is the process. This is the framework. This is where we're going to start to dig in. This is your gold mine. Okay, this is what all of your competitors are missing. This is what they don't understand, and this is what they're getting wrong. And when you get this right, I almost used a bad word, but then I would have had to answer my wife, okay? Then stuff changes, all right? Stuff's gonna change for you when you understand this. This is something that, and this is not something that I've adapted it to today's world. It's something that I was actually partially written about by Eugene Schwartz back in 1966. He has got a book called Breakthrough Advertising. You can get it, but it's out of print. It's really expensive, like $250 to $500 to get a copy. But this principle of saturation, or sophistication as he calls it, is still existent today and still powerful today. So what I want to do is here, I'm gonna jump to my iPad and start drawing. We're gonna walk through this model. I'm on page 6 of your action guide. If you're following along, we're gonna work through it here. So let's just go in here and let's start to draw this whole idea out of market sophistication in a way that hopefully lands for you, because this is the core of what you need to understand moving forward. When you get this right, you will be able to speak to your customers in a different way. You can land your message in a powerful way. They're going to be attracted to you. Now they're not going to be numb to the messages. So there's 5 levels of what we call market sophistication or market saturation. And at level 1 is typically when you get rid of that so I have a little more room to write. So level 1 is when your number one or maybe number two to the market. In other words, you're the first to the market. And most of us here are not first to the market. But let's just understand, if you were first to the market, how you could do this. If you're first to the marketplace, all you got to do is make a claim. In other words, hey, I have a solution. And that's the thing that we can work from, is that you have the solution. So let's just take an example. For instance, let's just take weight loss for a moment, and we'll look at some other examples. Is that you simply have to make a claim. I have a weight loss solution. There's the claim. So at level one, if you're the first one to the market, you simply got to make a claim, and that's it. The idea is this, is that they just need to know that they're going to get a result. Okay, so you get a chance to make a claim. Now, most of us, like I said, are not in this space. So we've gone past that, but let's just talk about the evolution of markets, because as you understand this, then you have the ability to use this to your advantage. So let's assume you're one or two to the marketplace. After a little while, what's going to happen? People are going to compete. People are going to enter the marketplace. Now other people are going to make claims. And now all of a sudden you've got this crowded marketplace all making claims. Let's use weight loss, okay? All these people are saying, lose weight, lose weight, lose weight, lose weight. And now the market gets confused. It gets bombarded. It gets saturated in a way that they don't listen to the claims. So what do we need to do next? What we need to do next is what we call amplify the claim. So if your market is beyond the one or two in the marketplace, what we need to do is amplify the claim. And what that means is this, is that we're going to talk about the claim before the features, but the most important part is this, is that we're going to amplify it by adding to the claim to make the claim bigger, better, faster. So instead of losing weight, it's going to be lose weight in 30 days, lose weight in 10 days, lose weight in 5 days, whatever it is. So you see what they do is they take the claim and they ratchet it up and say, here's my claim, but it's better than the other claim. Now, this is a short-lived lifespan if you look at the life of a market. And once they get past the claim, level one, and move into level two and amplify the claim, they pass through that. And now, once again, you've got a bunch of people that are going 10 days to lose weight, 5 days to lose weight, 30 days to lose weight. And the market, again, is saturated and not listening. They're not hearing your message. And if you're out there in your stuff making claims like build a better relationship, have a better, sex life, lose weight, be healthier, be more vibrant, those are claims. And they've probably heard them before, and that's why it's not landing. So what do you do next? At that level three, what happens? What level three is all about, level three is about the mechanism. And I'm going to relate this to your businesses in a second. I'm just giving you the purest sense of this. And this actually is when we start to talk about features. Before the claim and benefits. But what we're really focused in on here is really the how. So here's the deal. Let's just use diet, because we're using diet as we go through this, is that lose weight on the keto diet, lose weight on the 131 diet, lose weight on the South Beach diet, lose weight on Jenny Craig. So the mechanism you have becomes the lead to getting the results you want. So now we're selling the process, we're selling the how, we're selling the mechanism, if you will. So now, instead of just getting the claim, we're talking about the process to get the claim, the how. Okay. Again, once again, you get confused. I mean, if you look at, and why I'm picking on the diet industry is because they have so much out there that it's hard to follow, okay? So now you're sitting back saying, do I need the keto diet? Do I need 131? Do I need South Beach? Which is the one that I want to use? Because now you're looking at all the claims. They all say they're going to lose weight, but now it's about the claims. So just like before, where we amplified the claim, the next piece is that we need to escalate the mechanism, okay? So this is about saying mine is quicker, cheaper, or faster. So now you're gonna look at, let's just look at the keto diet. So we're gonna escalate mechanism. So now let's just pick on the keto diet for a moment. So you have the keto diet, which everyone says it's hard to stay on because you can't have the carbs and you got to be in ketosis and all that stuff, and it's difficult. So your mechanism is the keto diet. But now there's this company out there called Prove It. Now Prove It, I don't know much about it, so I may, but what they do is they have these shakes that put you automatically in ketosis, these packs that you put in water and you drink. So instead of having to be so forced into this very restrictive diet to be in ketosis, to have the keto diet, they have the opportunity now to say, listen, I get it. Keto is really hard to stay on, but not if you have these shakes. Our mechanism makes it easier for you to be on a keto diet and therefore lose weight. So what they did is they escalated the mechanism, the keto diet, in a different way that made them stand out. And they are growing by leaps and bounds. So hopefully this makes sense to you. Then from there, we get to the ultimate. And this is where I think we all need to be realizing, because I actually think what's happening in our market space is this, is that for the most part, most of us are putting messaging out there here. And when we're putting messaging out in level 2, level 3, they're not hearing it. What we need to do is start putting our messaging out here in level 4 and level 5. But what is level 5 and how do we get there? That's what I want to give you as we move forward. So level 5 is about identity. Okay? This is where we appeal to their emotions. Now we connect at the emotional level. We basically reset the marketplace. Because we're no longer talking about the claims. We're no longer talking about the mechanism. We're talking about them. We're talking about their identity. We're talking about their aspirational desire of who they want to become and how they want to be. We give them something to aspire to. When you take your content, when you take your knowledge, your wisdom, your expertise, and put it out there in a way that drives them up from where they are, their current reality, to an identity beyond, an identity above, you'll see that people will pay, people will chase, and people will be loyal followers in doing that. So let me give you a couple examples to bring this home. Let's just jump back to some slides. And let us get some examples in play here, okay? So this will hopefully land this for you. So now you can see it, and we'll get a chance to show how this works in an online business, in a bricks and mortar business, and in a thought leader business. So you'll see how this all plays out. But when we get this dialed in, you'll really nail it. So here's the thing. Let's just look at the music industry for a moment. The music industry. At the very beginning, there was no real music. And what they did is they made a claim, here's a transistor radio. And then they built on that, but or a boombox. So at the very level 1 was, hey, you can listen to music. Here's a transistor radio. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember that transistor radio. You had like 3 stations, and you had to hold it a certain way, and it was crazy. But then they had to amplify the claim. And what they did here is, at the next stage, they turned around and said, Now it's actually more portable. Now you have this ability to take it with you in an easier way, and it gets better reception. So they amplify the claim. You get more stations, you get further reach, you get the ability to do that, to make that happen. Then the next stage in this was the mechanism. This is when they first started with the Walkman, which was kind of, okay, we had the cassette tapes. Those of you that remember it, I remember I had a Walkman. So you had the Discman, you had the Walkman, you had all that. But now they have the mechanism, because instead of listening to the radio and having to listen to the stations that the radio station wanted you to, the music that the radio stations wanted to do, they had the ability to say, you can put stuff on a tape and you can take the music that you want with you, okay? And you have this thing called the Walkman. But then we moved to an MP3 player, okay? So now you can turn around and say, instead of what's left on a 30-minute or 45-minute cassette tape, you now have the ability to put a lot more songs on this MP3 player and take that with you. So what they did is they took the mechanism and made the mechanism better until Apple came along and launched the iPod, okay? And the original iPod, remember, Steve Jobs said, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's how he sold it. That's how he looked at it. Bottom line is this, is when you look at what he did, he created an identity. We'll look at some of his ads and how that plays in. And I want to ask you, are you creating an identity for the people that you are serving? Are you creating an identity for them to aspire to desire to do that? Because that's the challenge. So let's just look at this in a different business. Let's look at Tesla for a moment. Okay? For those of you who know that I'm a Tesla fanatic. But here's their claim right at the outset. They basically said, you know, hey, it's electric. The car, it says care, but it should say car. Here's the cool thing is in this kind of space, I can actually change it real time. And there we go. All right, we're good. So here's the deal. So they make the claim. It's electric. The car drives itself. There's the claim. They get a chance to just make the claim. They weren't the first electric to the market, but they were the first type of electric like this to the market. So they simply made a claim. Then at level 2, because there was more competition, they amplified the claim. 0 to 60 in half the time and 1/3 the cost of a Ferrari. So they looked at and compared themselves to the high performance petroleum vehicles, gas powered vehicles, and said, hey, we can go faster at 1/3 the cost. So they amplified the claim. Then at the next stage, they created a mechanism. This was the whole campaign around ludicrous mode. And if you've ever been in ludicrous mode, you better be wearing a neck brace, because it is crazy how fast these cars will accelerate in doing that. So they created this mechanism around this whole idea of ludicrous. Now, who the heck needs to go 2.8 or 3.2 seconds, 0 to 60? I mean, the only reason you do it is to get faster to the grave. It makes no sense, but it allowed them to create a buzz and create a positioning in the marketplace that allowed them to do that. Now we'll see where they go from here, but here's where they could go if they look at level 4 and level 5. And that is, hey, the hypercar Model Z, now I am not saying, so there is no Model Z coming out that I'm aware of, goes 3 times as far on 2 and twice as fast. So now all of a sudden, the extending of the battery and the acceleration and speed is in there. So now what's happened is, if they were to put something like that out, it's going to escalate their mechanism. In other words, instead of ludicrous, it's going to go distance and fast, something like that. Then ultimately, they give an identity, and they've already given an identity to their buyers when you look at their stuff. Making a difference while driving the best. Okay? Making a difference while driving their best. Who can't get behind that? Okay? Because what they've done is created an identity for people to say, I want to belong. That's missing in most thought leaders' businesses. That's missing in the kinds of things that we should be doing. Let's look at another business, another example. Let's look at your online business. If those of you that are online doing this, let's look at your online business. It is very good. I raced a BMW the other day and slaughtered it. Yeah, I know, Al, it's amazing. The golf carts, the Tesla golf carts go pretty fast. So here's the deal. Online business. Let's look at the claim. Make money online. When the internet started to grow, that was the big claim. Make money online. Okay? Simply make money online. Think about that. Make money online. It was this big business opportunity. Then the second, because everyone started going out there to make that claim to say make money online, they looked at it and said, oh, well, wait a second. Make 6 figures passive income this year. So now what they did is they escalated, they amplified the claim. 6 figures, they gave a specific amount, income this year. 6 figures, income this year. So you look at that. Then the online business, they look at the mechanism. So how do they do it? So they look directly at how they do it. It says, if you look at my friend Frank Kern, he's talking about intent-based branding. Okay, intent-based branding to attract the right leads. That's his positioning. That's his mechanism. So what he's done is he's saying, forget all this other stuff, use intent-based branding. And people go, what is intent-based branding? But that's the unique mechanism that has elevated him above the whole make money online or make 6 figures in a year or that type of thing in the online space. Now we need to escalate it because other people are coming into the space and they look at it and they go, oh, wait a second. An automatic system that attracts, warms, converts without complicated systems of the other. So now what we're doing is we're separating ourselves. We're saying, look, it's an automated system that attracts, converts, and creates sales for you without all the complications of the other systems. You know, we have this thing in the business where we talk about Infusionsoft is Confusionsoft, but what if you had the ability to just plug in, turn on, and things get built and it works for you, so it becomes this automated system that attracts the right people to the right place for the right reasons, so they buy. So they escalate the claim. Then the identity is really all about becoming that laptop. And we've heard this term, there's books out on it, become that laptop entrepreneur that you wanted. So the identity is the laptop entrepreneur, the easy way. What did Tim Ferriss do with the 4-hour work week? He created an identity of people that aspired to that 4-hour work week. That's the reason that this happened. And so what we need to realize is that in the process of doing that, we create an identity. How does this work for you that are in the expert space, that are trying to build a thought leader business? And then we'll look at some other identity spaces, examples for you. And then I'm going to give you some things to do to make that happen. Okay. Thought leader business. At the very beginning, make money with what you know. Okay. When people first started in this space, they looked at it and said, make money with what you know. Just take your knowledge out in the world. Everyone started to talk about how to do that. Then at the next level, it all became about creating a portfolio of income with freedom and 6 figures on your terms. So make money with what you know, create a portfolio of income, and have freedom, do it on your terms. Thought leaders then realize that it's saturated. You've got, I don't know, thousands of people that are part of the National Speakers Association. You've got thousands of people as part of the Coaching Association. You've got thousands of people that are consultants and coaches and online practitioners. So how do you set yourself apart as a thought leader? Now all of a sudden we're at level 3 and we talk about the mechanism, and this is about creating a unique methodology to position yourself as the only option. This is something that I think all of us need to have, actually, is to make sure that we have that unique methodology. We'll talk about what that means and how to build it in one of the upcoming trainings, and probably on Thursday when we do that. So it's about having a unique methodology that you become distinct and known for, that makes a difference and gets results, okay? Then we need to escalate it. Now we have the mechanism. You've got your unique methodology. then the next piece is really about how you use that unique methodology and put it on steroids, having clients chase you down. In other words, how do you use the unique methodology for them to position you as that authority? How do you make it easier? How do you make it faster? How do you make it better? How do you make it automatic? How do you make it instantaneous? Whatever it is, you elevate the mechanism to make that happen. Then you move to level 5, and this is where I think we all need to be playing at the level 5. And this becomes all about taking on the identity of a difference maker. The DMers, as I call them, to be a difference maker, living your calling, and having a lucrative business. Okay, that's how I see all this playing out. Now, this whole idea of identity is really, really important to think about. This is where we're missing the boat. Remember, I said that most of us are, I can write on this. Most of us are in here doing our marketing here, which is not where we want to be. We actually want to be here and creating all of our messaging here at the difference maker level, at the identity level, and the escalated mechanism level. So hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, do me a favor, hit yes, or put yes in the comment box. And then I'm going to give you some examples of other identities. I'm going to give you some things, and we're going to close out here shortly. I'll do some Q&A too, so we'll make it happen. All right, cool, awesome. All right, so if we look at this, then let's just look at some of the things that other brands have done to create identities to play at level 5, because I want you to play at level 5, and we'll give you a process in which it allows you to do that. So think about the iPod. Do you remember when Steve Jobs and Apple did this? Their actual advertising was all about this silhouetted advertising that allows people to associate with it. Listen, I'm an Apple fanatic. I got Apple all over the place, and I know that I could probably get the same functionality for cheaper, but I drink the Kool-Aid. So I have multiple iPads, I've got multiple iPhones, I've got multiple Apple computers. It's because I identify with the brand, and I buy because of the identity with the brand. Can you make that in your marketplace? Can you do that in your marketplace? Have you built a messaging that makes sense to them? Okay. Let's look at something else. This is at the very beginning of time. Ed Bernays was a PR person, and he got brought in to turn around and try to get he was brought into a cigarette company, and was asked, hey, we want to get more women to start smoking. Now, I am not a smoker, never been a smoker, don't aspire to be a smoker, do not condone smoking, but let's just look at this, because I think it's really interesting how he positioned the cigarettes and women smoking. What they did is they created a campaign that called the cigarettes the torches. Now, we're talking years and years and years ago, the torches of freedom. So what he gave is the women an identity that by smoking, you're smoking the torches of freedom, that you will be released in doing that. So it's an amazing example of what can happen when you do that. And if you look at other cigarette commercials, why did they use the Marlboro Man? Because men aspired to it, to sit back and have that aspiration, the kinds of things. Then you look at an ad like this, that you kind of go, what the heck are they selling here? But they're creating an identity, and guess what? Both of these ads are, believe it or not, for Viagra. It's crazy, but there's nothing about that in the ad. But they're selling at a level 5 identity level. This is what I think we're missing in doing this, is that we're missing that. Then you look at this. This, I think, is one of the most iconic brands that does identity-based positioning for their content, for their work, and that's Red Bull. Nothing on their website talks about what their Red Bull is. It's all about the extreme sports. It's about the identity that they give to the people that are drinking Red Bull, the identity for the people that they serve in Red Bull. This is what this is about. And that's what I think is missing. So how do we build it into your world? Let's go back to that model and let's walk through what I think you need. So how do we connect the level of saturation in the market, the sophistication of the market, directly to your thought leadership, to your expertise, to your position? Here's what I think you need. There's 5 things you need at each level. So at the base level, to make the claim, you need to spend some time. This is what people are not willing to do. When I talked about this at the very beginning, we're talking about why this is important. So at the very beginning, you need to take the time to catalog your thinking, to understand what it is you know, to dump, if you will, your insights so you create a portfolio. Absolutely, Cheryl. GoPro is doing the same thing. A portfolio of what I call intellectual property. Capture it in a way that you can deliver it multiple ways, that you can make a difference with what you know. So the first thing to do is to sit down, and what I want you to do is think about this as a checklist. And some of this you may be able to do right away. Some of it you may need guidance on to do this. But first, let's dump out what it is you know, the knowledge, the wisdom, the expertise, the insights that your people need to have. So if I'm going to sit with you, or you're going to sit with me for a moment, you're going to spend an hour with me, you're going to spend 2 hours with me, what are the core things that you want me to know to go away with so it changes my life, it solves the problem? And what are those insights? So first, create a portfolio of intellectual property that's uniquely yours, from your journey, from your expertise, from your knowledge. That's the claim level. Then to elevate the claim, the next piece is to create a proprietary process. How do you move them from point A to point B? Specifically, do you have a proprietary process in place that allows them to bring it home? Yeah, this is page, should be page 7 in the materials. Proprietary process. Try and say that after you've been talking a while. So create a process that's succinct, to the point, and consistently gets results, moves them from A to B. We'll talk more about the whole idea of a methodology, unique methodology, in a different training, so to bring this home a little bit. But the point is that I simply want to move them from their current reality to their aspirational desire. And I want to do it simply, and I want to do it succinctly, and I want them to see the path to make it happen. So creating a process. If you don't have a process, that's something that we need to create. Now, you may think you have a process, but is it documented? Is it systematic? And does it get the results on a regular basis? Now, number 3, the mechanism. And I think that the mechanism is your unique methodology. And your unique methodology includes frameworks, signature frameworks, diagrammatic frameworks. You've seen examples of that here in this training. You see it through everything that I do. How do you create that? Because they become uniquely yours. You become known for this in this way. So what are the frameworks? What are the method? What is the whole methodology, the process that gets the point across? Then at level 4, so if I've got the portfolio, I've got a process, I've got frameworks in place to make it happen, then we got to figure out your position. So we need powerful positioning. In other words, I need to position you in an industry, in a marketplace where you are seen, where you are heard, and where you are seen as the expert. So we've got to create positioning. Marketing is not meant to get transactions. Marketing is meant to build positioning in a thought leader business. When you are positioned properly, and I'll give you an example. I've got one of my expert businesses. I have multiple expert businesses that are doing 6 and 7 figures. And I have one of them that has been built over the years. I have no website. I have no business cards. I do no marketing. And I've done no marketing for a decade, for over a decade. And each and every year we'll do multiple 6 figures. The only reason that happens is because we have powerful positioning in place. We are known for what we do, and they come to me for that. And that's what we need for you. That's where you transcend time. That's where you transcend billing rates. That's where you transcend commodity rates. That's where we need to play. So to escalate, we need powerful positioning. And then the last piece, this identity piece, this is truly about you, your unique genius. We got to figure out what is unique, that thread, that DNA, that fingerprint that's only yours, and your story and your delivery. Because people will relate to your story. People will connect with your delivery. People will Also, they'll not relate and they'll not connect. So there's going to be people that say, I don't like that, and they're going to go away, which is fine. You become a magnet, as I've talked about. And a magnet has two sides of it. The side that attracts, which is what we want to do here, your story, your delivery, you're refining your craft, whether you're speaking, whether you're writing, whether you're doing video, however you do the delivery, this becomes the thing that drives you. Now, that attracts a certain group. Remember, we want to find the tribe that we can whisper in the right ears at the right time, the right words in the right way. But it also, the other side of the magnet, repels those that aren't part of your tribe, which is fine. We're not the same. We're not the cup of tea for everyone. And that's cool. We want to serve the people that want to be served. The Coast Guard has a saying. It says, we save those that are swimming towards the ship first. That's who we want to serve. And it comes from your ability to deliver, your ability to have that story, that unique genius that is only yours, that no one else can duplicate. When we do this properly, actually, there is no competition because no one else has the same story, the unique genius, and the journey that you have. That's the key in doing this. So here's what I tell you to do. Is I would look at this and say, you know, this is a checklist. Do I have these in place? And if I don't have these in place, I need to go get them in place. And I need to build them to make that happen. All right. Because when you do, things change, things shift in doing that. So let me give you a couple things to close out and an assignment to do and next steps. All right. So first things first, I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Kate Dramis, amazing young lady, but she was in this space. She was trying to figure out what she wanted to do. And we spent some time together so she understands when we start to elevate her above, you know, level 2 and 3 to 4 and 5. Here's what she said. She says, 90 minutes, he changed my business. He changed my life. I've never met someone who can look at a person's expertise, turn it into something that can be shared with the masses. Now I have a framework and a process, okay? Level 2, 3, and 4, inspiration and confidence to take my message to the world. And she just actually tested some of her content in a live event and blew the doors off with her story, her unique genius. She's playing at a level 5 now. It's a complete game changer. So here's the thing that I'd love for you to do is here's the next steps. And then I'm going to open it up for Q&A. What I'd like for you to do is start to understand and question, where is your marketplace? Where is your market? And you can figure this out. Are they at a level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? And if they're getting bombarded with a lot of marketing messages, they're certainly not level 1. They're probably not at level 2. They might be at level 3. It just depends on the market, but likely they're at level 4 and 5. So that's one, is understand where your marketplace is. One of the ways that we do this is we actually put out ads. We put out video content to different markets, and we track it on Facebook to see who's engaging, and we can see if they engage with content that's level 2 content versus level 3 content or level 4 content. We can see the at least based on percentages, who's engaging at what level, and we can get an idea of where the marketplace is at. So that's one way to do it. But you can also just evaluate it by doing market surveys, market interviews to understand where they are at. So now, you know that your market is, say, at a level 3 or 4, where you're talking about the mechanism or an escalated mechanism. My question now is then to go back to the messages you put out there, your marketing content, the things that you're putting into the world, your video content, and ask yourself, what level is your content going out? Because this is where most people are missing the boat. They're speaking to a market based on their mechanism or their claim, level 1, 2, or 3, but their market is beyond that. Their market is looking for a new identity. Their market is looking for an escalated claim mechanism. They want to be spoken to in a different language, and you're missing the language that they need to be spoken to. So look at where your market is, look at your messaging going out to the market as you move forward, and then ask yourself, what 2 levels should you be playing at? Here's what I mean by that. You play at the level of your market, and you play at the level above your market. In other words, if your market is at level 3, you play at level 3 and level 4. Okay? You play at the mechanism level and the escalated mechanism level. So you play at the 2 levels. So what are the 2 levels you should be messaging at, communicating at, and doing the things at? Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to do something. When you figure that out, come back to this. I want you to post it in here and tell me what your very next step is, the right next thing. Because I know something for certain. We can leave a training, we can do a training, and we can walk away and say, that was great information. But if we don't act on it immediately, then we get nothing out of it. The idea here is I want you to start executing, implementing, and making a difference in people's lives, which will make a difference in your life. And so here's my question. When you figure out where your market is, where your messaging is, where you need to play, post it in here with your next step. What are you going to do next? I look forward to seeing that. So that's the training. That's what I wanted to talk about. Here's where we're going next is tomorrow, we're going to jump back in. Now that you have this baseline of the market layout and how you got to communicate, now the question is, how do you communicate? How do you put it out there in a way that you articulate your value, you articulate your uniqueness, you get it across, and you get across why it's important for them to work with you versus the other competitors. And I'm going to give you a tool that will succinctly do this. So you can put it on your websites, you can use it in introductions, you can put it on your podcast, but we're literally going to do a fill in the blanks. I'm going to give you examples. How do you articulate what you do in a way that people go, it's valuable, that's what I need, and it's different than everyone else, I'm going to jump in. That's the key. So now that we've baselined you in this market thing, tomorrow at 10 a.m., we'll be back in here. We're going to jump into the training too. We're going to talk about that. So I want to see you back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. We'll make it happen. So here's the thing. Couple things. I'm going to answer questions if they come in. And the other thing that I want to make sure you do, is that as soon as if the tech gods have smiled on us, which I think they have, I'll make sure that you get access to the replay. I want you to watch it again because I probably did a lot of stuff and put a lot of stuff out there. So let me know what questions you have. I'm more than happy to chat and see what we can do. I'm just looking at these things are flying by. My market is already at least at a 4, many already at 5. Level 5 is the space that I'm addressing. Absolutely, Karen. It's what we need to do, but we need to be able to do it in a unique, distinct way to make that happen. So absolutely. Awesome training. Thank you, Mary. So great to have you here. I'm going to open this up and see if I can see all of the comments. I don't know that I can. Oh yeah, here's some of them. Cool. Someone's fillable fields on page 7 are broken. Dang it. Sorry about that. Torches of freedom. Wow. I know. All right. Let me see if you've got questions. I'll stay on to answer any questions. And if not, those of you that might be watching the replay, if you have questions, post them. We'll make sure that we do this. This week for us is for us to dialogue, to have a conversation, to make a difference, to get your stuff out in the world, to help you out so you can go do stuff differently, live your calling, make a difference in people's lives, and have the impact you were put here to have. Okay, so let's see. Market has been at level 1, but I'm getting the competition coming in hot. So, and Chris, absolutely. So here's what you need to do. I'd start looking at how do you move to level 2 and level 3 at a minimum and start having different conversations with your marketplace to make that happen. No, Ashley, this is a great question. No, you don't have clients yet. Feel like it might be for someone at a higher level. No, actually not. Here's the thing. Now we get a chance to craft and draft exactly what it is you want to do, how you want to do it, and who you want to do it with. So you are crisp, clean, and clear to that marketplace. So we just need to define it properly, Ashley. And I think that's really the key, is that we can make that happen by going through the process, say, okay, who is it I want to serve? And when we do this in the next training, we're going to talk about the who and the what and the why in a way that will hopefully become clear, because it doesn't matter what level you're at. I do this with large corporations. I do this with individuals. I do it with people that are starting out. What level you're at, we got to get clear on our message. The bottom line is that we need our messaging right. We need a structure, framework, and methodology that's done right. We need a business built around it. And that's how we build our reach and make the difference. So you're in the right place at the right time. I love the hearts. Bring them. All right, so emergency management performance level 3 or 4. I need to be at level 4 or 5. Immediate next steps. New intentional brand message in logo, website, engagement content. Absolutely. So you're going to want to, yeah, absolutely. Leonard, you're going to want to start building different kind of content to speak to those messages and bring them in at the level that we need to talk to them at. I need to learn how to get my message out. Beth, so one of the things, when you say get the message out, that can be tactical. In other words, how do we put it out there? You know, video, YouTube, Instagram, that kind of thing. Or it could also be that the message isn't the right message, so it's not landing because it's not taking off of, even organically. So we may want to look at that. Let me see if I'm going to page back a little bit and see if I can see some of the questions. Robert Stack. Robert Stack's a genius. So good to have you here, my friend. Let's see. Have not been able to find only found the one that private do's and don'ts. Help, please. Sorry, Sherry. We'll have to make sure that you get it. I just saw that. I have different markets. One is definitely level 1 or 2, but one that will be more lucrative is level 3 or 4. I think I can focus on the level 1 or 2 for now to finance the growth of the other one. So here's my question for you, Kathy. Great question. I do want you to focus on one market first, one message first. We can't, dissipating our resources becomes a problem. So where's the one that you think you have greatest access to, greatest positioning in, and your ability to create that cash flow? One. Second, do you enjoy it? Because look, I may have opportunities in markets that I can make a boatload of cash in, but if I don't enjoy it, I don't want to do it. So first thing, I mean, do you enjoy the market at 1 or 2, and can you speak to that, or should you be in the other market? So, but let's choose one and go after one, if that makes sense. Okay. Absolutely, Amelia. Amelia is my mom's name. So, yeah, we're gonna make the replay available for you. It'll be available for a short time, so it'll only be up for a handful of days, probably till next week, and then it'll all come down. So, Terry's in the house. Do you think weight loss is at a 5 or still at a 4? I think you need to speak at a 4 and a 5 level. They need to understand the mechanism at an elevated level, but they also need to identify and say that I can do it. One of the challenges is that a lot of folks will get into the fitness or the health game and not speak to most people trying to lose weight are actually trying to aspire to a different identity. And I think that's where we need to be playing that game. Let's see. You're welcome, Robin. Is there a list of IP items? Robin, tell me what you mean by that. Is there a list of IP items? Okay, let's see. I'm going down and finding more. I organize chaos and solve problems for living in healthcare globally. What I've been doing for clients, you just did for me. Thanks. This is great. Glenna, it is my pleasure. If you can't tell, I love doing this, and I love seeing people make a difference. So, hey, Sarah, you crushed the training. So much value as always. Mel Abraham, thank you so much. Sarah, thank you so much. Mary is in the house. I think my market is still evolving, level 3 or 4. I am working towards 5 now, though. So be able to create your messages at level 3, 4, and 5. Create your content. This is why we need to create that unique methodology, the positioning, and build the brand around your unique genius. Perfect. Mostly at level 4. Cool. Maggie's in the house. Thanks for being awesome, Mel. My clients are level 3, 4. Perceive they're level 5. I'm at level 5. Action. Going back to review my marketing messages are at the appropriate levels. Absolutely. I'm just beginning to develop my business concept. Perfect time to participate in your program. Absolutely, Sharon. This is the time to draft it so we do it right with depth and layers to make it happen. Yeah, Jeff. Some clients think that they're at level 4 when they're really at 1 or 2. Ain't that the truth? How do I know what level my market is at? So Gail, this is a great question. Remember, what we need to do is start having a conversation with them. Ask yourself, how inundated and buried are they with marketing messages? What are the messages that they're seeing? Follow other people in your space to see what marketing messages they're putting out there. If they're putting out claims messages or mechanism messages, you know that that's what's proliferating the market. We're going to step above that. Hopefully that makes sense, Gail. Also, like I said, we can use a Facebook ad strategy to test the market and see which content they engage with most. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can run $5 a day to a couple of videos to see which one are posts to see what they're engaging with. And if they're engaging with level 3 or 4 content, we know where the market is or what they're searching for. Hopefully that helps, Gail. Arminda, stuck in a thought that I need my course content ready before crafting my message. Actually, what we need to do is figure out what that overall transformation and message is and build the content in a way that you can deliver it in a course, you can deliver it in a speech, you can deliver it in a book, you can deliver it any way you want. So you're not stuck to creating a course and then you're trying to craft a message that matches the course. What is your core message? What is it that you stand for? What is it that you want to be known for becomes the driving force in this. This is tough for me. I think my messaging is at a level 1, so I'll start working at level 2. So Kit, the question is not just where your messaging is, where is your market, Kit? Let's find that out. Karen Buxman, she's in the house. Amazing through the power of strategic humor. I love that term, strategic humor. Mine's sporadic humor. Mine's sarcastic humor. I don't know. They might be high-performing lead sales. However, they may be in different industries. Do I need to create a different message focusing on an industry to keep it at a psych profile? Karen, this is an absolute great question. This is about how you niche. And I actually talked about this on the pre-training yesterday. When I send you the replay, I'll give you the timestamp to where to do it, where to go to on this. The point is this, is that I don't want to create, what I want to do is I want to create content that will go across industry lines. So I'm not stuck in one industry, but then I'll create marketing messages to speak to a specific industry with the transformation. So your transformation is the power of strategic humor, being a high performer through strategic humor, doing those kinds of things. And that can go across all industries. But now we position the messaging to that industry. So we're speaking to that industry specifically at first, but we can then move to other industries, if that makes sense, Karen. I'll send you the link so you can go through what I call the niching paradox. It'll walk you through what we're doing there, okay? And that's in the pre-training that we did yesterday. I have videos at number 1 on YouTube, 80K, 10,000 comments, positive 11 sales. Yes, 11 sales. Les, we got to figure this thing out. You got a lot of activity on it, but we're not getting the sales. It might be something in the messaging in doing that, because maybe what we're doing is giving a lot away and not making sure that they understand the gap and the need to make that happen. Easiest to access right now is on level 1 or 2 market. I love that market. The people are wonderful. I'm sharing instruments quotes on my IG page in hopes that the market to those who are looking to become entrepreneurs in MLM. Not sure what level I'm at. Well, so sharing inspirational quotes is just about inspirational quotes. The question is, what is it that you stand for, Deshaun? What is your message? We can share the inspirational quotes, but at some point they got to get to know you. What are your beliefs? What are your philosophies? What do you stand for? What do you want to be known for? Those kinds of things, because that's what's attractive to people. They see people and they're going to be attracted to that. So let's put some stuff out there around you. Absolutely, Stephen. I'll see you tomorrow. Carrie, I know we'll dig a little deeper, Carrie, and let's see what we can work through to make it happen for you and understand. Sometimes other people may have a different slant on it, which is fine, but you will create your own uniqueness, your own unique methodology that is yours. Porter Davis, trainings will be available in this group. I know I have missed at least one. Yes, they will be in this group. I'll also put them on a replay page, so they'll all be on one page, so you can get access to them at least for a few days. So you'll have that. Okay. Eileen, I'm beginning. Welcome. You're in the right place. Arminda, brilliant. Thank you, Mel. I love that. Thank you. I work primarily with pastors and leaders. It's amazing how many people that are in theology and pastors and ministry that I work with in doing that. So it's hard to get participation from them. I have lots of content, but little interaction. Perhaps developing a different methodology may help. Absolutely. I think what we end up doing is figuring out how do we communicate at a different level to get that interaction with them. So let's see what we can make happen there. So school leaders. Julie's having the problem with school leaders in the UK. Yeah, I mean, some people, we got to deal with their complacency. Now, remember, some people don't want their problem solved. They don't see it as a problem, so they may not necessarily be the right people for us to speak to at that set, but we can put different content in front of them to test it. Thank you for the replays. I had to work. You got it, Eileen. Jay's in the house. I'm having the same problem, Mel. I'm getting like 20,000 views, tremendous engagement, but no sales. We'll need to talk about it, split tested. Hearing you talk to others sounds like maybe the messaging could be off and maybe something else. So Jay, yeah, we probably need to look at your messaging and how you're really positioning it and how you're speaking to. Also, we got to look at the audience. You're speaking to the right audience. Funny means money, strategic humor for influence, world domination. I love that, Karen. Published Forbes books this fall. Congratulations. Oh my God. Let me know how I can help with your book launch strategy. And if you got an extra galley, send it my way. All right. Cool. Does your training go into specific messaging strategies? I'm trying to do a better job of copyright. Hey, Chris, it does. The first thing is extracting the knowledge and wisdom out of your head in a way that we can put it out there. That is compelling, that builds frameworks, that builds a methodology that people can follow and gets results. Got the mental cogs turning. I like mental cogs. Way to go, Maya. See you tomorrow. Sorry I was on a comment. No problem, Alice. You can get it on the replay. Robert Stack, thank you, my friend. Great to be here. So, all right. Any other questions? Anything coming up for anyone? I'm here. If not, we'll call it a day. So here's the deal. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., we're going to dig into creating your value articulation statement. We're going to specifically, how do you articulate your uniqueness, your value, and everything that you're trying to do in a succinct statement so you can use it in doing that. Do me a favor, post in here, ask any questions. This is our community to share, to be with, to make a difference in people's lives. Thank you for being here. Les, I am blessed that you are at 4:30 in the morning. You are there. Go back to bed. See you tomorrow. Have fun. Let's see who else. Terry, thank you for being here. I found people engaged more with level 4 than they did with level 2. I think my market is at a level 2 right now. Yep. Why weren't you one of the big speakers at BBD Live? I would have loved to have learned from you there. Chris, I spoke at BBD Live in October. I was in and out at this, but I do get there to speak because James is a very, very close friend and a neighbor. We're like best friends. So we'll put the request in. I'll make sure I get on the stage. Sharon, I probably not in this about protecting your intellectual property, but I will say this. Yeah, there will be a replay, Jack. Here's the thing. When you talk about protecting your intellectual property, I think one of the best ways it's totally counterintuitive. I think one of the best ways to protect your intellectual property is to be prolific with it. So you become absolutely attached to the intellectual property, the framework. This is why we do frameworks. This is why we do a specific methodology, because the frameworks and the methodologies become specifically identified to you. Like, look at Stephen Covey, important versus urgent, 4 boxes, okay? Hedgehog concept, okay? So you look at these frameworks and they become indelibly connected to the person that's doing it. That's one of the greatest ways to do it. You can protect it legally, that's fine, trademarks, copyrights, and that type of thing. But I think the greatest way is to be so prolific with it that when someone sees it, they associate it with you. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'll see if I can get some more training for you, Sharon, on that. But it also depends on the state you're in for the laws in order to do that. So best routine I've had on framework ever. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, thank you. I'm in skincare level 5. How do I apply this perspective to pre-sell a luxury product? Luxury product is all identity. It's all identity. Look at Aston Martin, okay? Look at high performance vehicles. Look at, I mean, the auto industry does this well, but fashion also does it. They're appealing to identity. So the question really is, how do you create the identity for them that is an aspirational identity that they aspire to? So we need to speak to that identity level. Mary Beckett, like frameworks and Mal, thank you so much. Gail, how do we create our own identity? So here's the thing. One is to create the identity. The other is to understand your market avatar enough to understand what is their aspirational identity. That's a more powerful thing than creating your own identity. What do they aspire to? What do they want? What are the things that ail them, that pain them? This is why I said it's going to take some work. You're going to have to do some deeper work. We don't just flippantly go out to a marketplace. We're going to actually have to go out and speak to a marketplace, do some research, and really start to understand what do they think, what do they aspire to? What are the dreams that maybe they've put into the closet because they don't think that they can have them, and you get a chance to bring them out, dust them off, clean them off, shine the light on their dreams again, and put it out in the world and say, here's what you can be, here's what you have. As a thought leader, I believe that you're actually peddlers of hope. So stop peddling tomatoes. That's the point, is that so what I would rather do is make sure that I'm clear on the identity, the aspirational identity of the market that I want to serve, and speak to that first before I think about creating a specific identity for them. Hopefully that makes sense. Amazing training. I'm starting out, so this comes at a perfect time. Dana's in the house. Andrea here. I'm a photographer level 2. There's lots of people already in photography, but not in the niche I'm not sure how to educate people about it. I can't figure out how to do it so it doesn't infringe on copyright. It is very specific. So I don't know about the infringing on the copyrights, Andrea. We might want to talk more about that. But what we need to do is start putting out content that starts to speak to the things that you do that are unique, the things that are missing, myth busting, those kinds of elements. But we need to have a framework and a methodology that's distinct that it'll feed into. Absolutely. We want our IP to be prolifically out there. Look, I put so much content out, and I'm not concerned about it. You know, if it's good, people might steal it. Okay. Then I'll have the attorneys on it if I need to. But a lot of people know it's my content, so I'm not really that concerned about it. Here's the other challenge with it. If you've done the deep thinking to create the content, they have not. They've taken the superficial content and they've gone and delivered it, but they don't have the levels and the layers to do this in a way that allows them to continue and play in this game for a long term. You've done the work and you're more informed than they are because you created it. And so the market will get wise to that pretty quickly. Thank you, Mark. So great to have you here. All right. Awesome. All right. So I will see you all back here 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'll try to get the replay out as quickly as possible. And I'll send a note to you with the replay so you've got it. And it'll be also up in the group. And that's it. If you have questions, anything, let me know. If you know of anyone that should be seeing this, hearing this, being part of this, let them know. But I look forward to this. Is going to be fun. This is the first time I've done this, and we've got a couple more days of this. So it's going to be fun. Look forward to seeing you all back here tomorrow. You guys have an incredible, incredible day. Cheers to y'all.